some people were saying, no, it's 4 groups of 6.
Mm.
And they were trying to talk their way into, making it make sense. But it
Right.
really didn't, because I
Right.
said, I just turned it over. I showed it to him. I said, now,
Yeah.
if this was a test, and sometimes this will be on a test, they're going to show you these groups. You're going to count the groups. There's 6 groups, 4 in each group. So it would be 6 times 4.
Mm-hmm. So the turnaround factor, the commutative,
Right.
is true, but
Yeah.
in this picture,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
And we talked about, yes, you get the same product.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get the same answer. And then Javel, he's so far beyond what we're doing. I mean, he probably should go to 4th grade math, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
He's like really thinking outside the box, because it's like, okay, I see 6 times 4, but I also see, and he was coming up and showing me how he saw
Different groups.
And he went up and down or across, and
Mhm.
which is fine, but so many of my kids aren't even close to that yet. So I just wondered if I could write just quick. Okay.
Well, I think you can if
Okay.
you just, I mean, that's the thing about number talks, and really what I need to work on myself is having kids add on, like having a student share a strategy and stopping them part way and saying who can add on to that, because that is really where the power is in the conversation with kids, because it's requiring them to be able to stop and listen and think about what that person said, and it's not just regurgitating. I think a couple of times I did, who can say what so and so said. That's more of the surface level. Like when you stop them and say, I want you to add on to that, that's where it gets.
I did that today, and I'm so mean sometimes. But like Abby and Bella, those girls are out to lunch so much. I mean, they're just not focused, and I've tried everything I can to get those girls to pay attention. And I hate to say it, but the only effective strategy is when I call them out on it. I don't say, okay, I'm calling you out, but I call on them. Abby, can you tell me what Jasper just said?
Yeah.
Knowing full well she has no clue.
Right.
But then she will engage for a while, and same with Bella.
And if you can go back and catch her when you know she is, then I think that kind of works it all out. Works itself out, I guess I would say. So, Okay, so how about the sight word game?
Well, we only did it the once, because then I was testing again today.
Sure.
But
I felt like you telling the kids right away, I didn't like the rules to begin with. It was obvious that you really thought through what was going to work and what wasn't going to work. So, what went well? I mean, I know it was just the one day, so now
I think they're so glad to be able to play games, and I know I'm a terrible teacher for not letting them do it sooner, but I think they were like, yes, we get to actually go on the floor and play some games and not sit quietly and do whatever. So, but the 3 that I had go down and play it did very well with it. They only got through 1 round. Wyatt was the reader, and Bella and Winter were looking for him. But it seemed to go very well. I was watching, and they were all engaged and seemed to be having fun. And so,
if you were to teach it again, would you do anything different?
I don't think so, because I kind of like the fact that Brody scattered his everywhere, because it became very evident that he was having a harder time finding his because they were so scattered. So it was a good example for everyone to see that, hey, maybe if I'm a little more organized about it. And then the fact that I never even thought having them put it away. I'm gonna put this one aside.
I did not think.
So as they're doing it, I'm
thought of that
thinking,
either.
should I tell them to stop or let them go a little bit farther, and then let's talk about, well, why shouldn't we do this? So I don't know if I
because
should.
if you think about their strategy in their mind, they want to win.
Yeah.
In a teacher's mind, you wanted to have multiple practices with those words.
Yeah. So I'll probably do the same thing with the next group I introduce it, is let them just kind of blaze the way, and then we'll talk about what worked
Mhm.
and what didn't work, so. And I did talk to Erica this morning about it, and I think we're gonna try to, well, we are going to, once they've gone through all 3 sets, start rotating in old spelling lists and having them, because there's only 3 sets, so it's not gonna take them long to do it 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
and be kinda bored with it, so. I think what
Mhm.
I'll try to do is come up with a template to just plug in their spelling words and,
So before you do that, let's look. I don't know if it was Wonders or if it was the previous reading series we had. They were all made into word study cards, so they'd be the cards.
you know what, now that you
size.
say that, have I seen that on Wonder's site? But you know, I'm not,
I bet they are.
think so? I can't remember.
Let me see if I can get into my Wonders.
That would be so much easier.
Yeah. I don't. Do you have any idea where it might be? Get into my.
Connected.
Oh. If it's not on,
Yeah, look at that.
if it's not on there, I'll have to
Okay,
check.
so like, I could just put in like,
What if you put word spelling
well,
cards?
one, and then,
Set cards.
cause sometimes you can. I'm thinking they don't, it seems like on page 3 is where the.
You're thinking they don't what?
They don't have them like made into cards, but
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Well, before you make a template, let me poke around a little
Okay.
bit. And I also, there's a coach at Taylor whose teachers have used word study for their spelling for a long time.
Well, that's okay.
That's more of the activities too. Here,
Spelling
can,
word cards.
PDF or?
There you go.
Yay!
So spelling word cards.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then you could,
Do it on cardstock and.
yeah, different colors for different lists.
Cool.
Yay.
One less.
Can I ask a side, off the side question? More about spelling and phonics, not really about this. Last Friday, we were supposed to have some time for 3rd through 5th grade teachers to plan for their
Mhm.
kids who are in interventions, but we have so many kids that are closing and getting so much closer to grade level
Mhm.
that we really want to shift to using whatever the grade level materials are.
Mhm.
So using the spelling and phonics skill for Wonders for whatever the week is. So you have it in your whole group and then they're practicing it in the small group. Still using that same structure of the 5-part lesson,
Mhm.
just using different materials to plan it and different materials for the kids to practice. Does that make sense?
No, you lost me with. So is that for on or above or the intervention?
Intervention. So what I'm trying to figure out
During their
is-
intervention
yeah.
group?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the interventionist would still be filling in the skill-based gaps that they have. Except I have concerns with doing that for like Asher and Ray and Jayla. I think we should stick with having them double
Mhm.
whatever their skill is. They're so far behind.
Mhm.
But for the majority of our kids, whatever your phonics and spelling skill is for a whole group, you would design your lesson using that same skill,
Mhm.
and you could in all reality use parts of the leveled reader, or you could still pull decodable text depending on what the skill is that they
Mhm.
need practice on.
Mhm.
I'm asking because we had planned on doing some planning last Friday so that we could start next week.
Mhm.
But the more I'm thinking about it, there's not really professional learning that needs to happen because you guys are really good at the structure. It's just using different materials to plan.
Mhm.
But I don't want to spring it on teachers like, surprise, you do this differently. So can you tell me, tell me your thoughts?
Yeah, I would love to do that. So like, my intervention group then would be based on the phonics skill that week, the spelling is. I would love
The
to
grade
do
level,
that.
which is what we
Grade level.
wanted to do at the beginning, but our gaps were so big
Mhm.
that kids weren't ready for it. The other benefit to that is you and Erica can plan those together, or you can, she plans one week, you plan the next week, because there's gonna be so few groups that aren't using that.
Mhm.
I think that,
Cause I think, is there, cause I use, is that what I mean right here?
mhm,
I use every week, page 3, these.
mhm,
So we go through the list and we write down, what the short vowel, so this would be A, and then we put the
mhm,
short vowel sound up, whatever the skill is.
mhm,
And then, well, there's more, there's like 5 per week, 5 different activities.
mhm. So in my mind, what that might look like is you're still doing the Kilpatrick, whatever levels they've been working on.
Yes, do that.
Your review section might be something like, you know what, I'm noticing kids are missing short vowels a lot, so we're just gonna review the difference between the short I and the short E, and what your mouth does, and practice reading some words. And then that decoding section is, like, let's say my spelling words for this week are, and my phonics skill are silent letters. And my spelling words are these 25 words. When I'm mapping, I might pick a few of those that I'm going to have a map so that by the end of the week they're kind of mapping all of them. We're still doing the connected text that has whatever the skill is. That's really how your small group time was designed to be originally. It's just that our gaps were so big to begin with that kids weren't.
Yeah. No, that'd be good, because this is what they do for independent work. My, well, on or above and my intervention groups do this because it's pretty independent work. I mean, there's no rocket science in this.
The sorting, sure.
Yep, but it would help just solidify a little bit more and then they could maybe do this a little, like, Ray still struggles with it, Asher, he has a hard time. Like, this would be hard for him to find the word with the same vowel sound, but.
So that shift you don't feel like is gonna be a real big one for teachers if it's.
Matter of fact, I think it would be almost easier, because your words are there. And finding connected text, if it's not embedded in here somewhere, which I bet there is, are obviously in the Wonders books.
And the leveled readers are gonna have, even if you choose it, you're only reading a paragraph for today and we're looking for.
And I have a plethora of teacher pay teacher, very short, of all the vowels, all the blends, all the diagraphs. I mean, so it would be nothing for me to just download those and print them and.
Okay, that makes me feel better, because if I talk to somebody who is feeling like I don't want to go from, we have teachers who are feeling confident in what they're doing to this being one more thing right before conferences, but I do think in the long run
But it's really not one more thing. It's you're still doing the exact same thing. You're just now incorporating whatever skill it is for your phonics
sister.
that week. Right?
Yeah. And it's allowing kids more practice with the whole group grade level materials, which is what we have to be doing anyway. So, okay, can we go back to this?
Yep.
So, sorry, thank you
That's
for.
okay.
Jess is
You're
probably
like
gonna
me.
wonder why that was all.
Today I was teaching math. We're supposed to be talking about patterns on the multiplication, and I got all off on breaking apart equations. I didn't even know how it happened. And finally, it's like, okay, now back to where I started 20 minutes ago. So.
Okay, so you're thinking after they have practice with this, then to move into doing the spelling?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So probably just, at this point, teaching your other group and giving them time to practice.
Yep.
Miss Doyle says she needs us to be charged.
Is Miss Jean down in the library? Can you check and see if Miss Jean is down in the library? Because I don't have the charger. Thank you. Oh, so your end goal is for kids to be playing this when they're not with you, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I was just gonna look at kids playing without teacher. What's today? Wednesday. So when are you thinking you're gonna be wanting to set them free to try it without you?
I'll probably introduce it tomorrow to the other group, Friday to my last group, so I have 3 groups.
Mm-hmm.
And work it into the rotation next week sometime.
So if you want me to come and observe what they're doing while you can still teach and kind of help with the
Okay.
keeping them focused and on task, I can do that.
Okay.
Monday or Tuesday during your small group time. I'll put it in on Monday.
Okay.
And it's, what time's your first group? Oh, no, 1:15 is when they were with you, so when are they
Yeah.
on their own?
1:15. Because that first rotation, they have to do their to-do list. And then at 1:15, my intervention group
One.
leaves. And then I take one of my honor above. I have computers on one group, and then my third group then will be doing
Gotcha.
this.
Okay. So I will come in Monday at 1:15 to
Yep.
watch the little darlings. All right. I think that's it.